Waiting feels safe. Waiting feels responsible. We tell ourselves that waiting for proof is the smart thing to do. But history tells a very different story. In 2014, I owned a domain name called Bitcoin. It cost me $12. But because I didn't see immediate validation, because no one told me it was valuable yet, I let it expire. Years later, that same domain was listed for $100,000. Nothing about the domain changed. The only thing that changed was validation. And today, I'm going to show you why waiting for certainty is the most expensive tax you will ever pay. You see, most of us were taught to view colonization purely as a moral tragedy, and it was. Lives were lost, cultures disrupted. That part is real. But if you only look at the morality, you miss the mechanic. You miss how it actually worked. The people who colonized the world didn't sit in rooms arguing about right and wrong. They sat in rooms making decisions about control. Take the Berlin Conference. Before resources were extracted, before the value was obvious, before people even moved in, borders were drawn, treaties were signed. The same thing happened with railroads. Tracks were laid before the cities existed. And whoever controlled the routes controlled what grew around them. Now here's the pattern. Colonization is about controlling the administrative layers of a new territory before the value becomes obvious. Now, what do I mean by administrative layers? This is the layer that provides the logic, the rules, and oversight that allows the activity layer to function effectively. Let's take driving, for example. The activity is driving. The administrative layer around driving is the rules that we follow when driving, such as respecting the speed limits, having insurance on your car, keeping a valid driver's license, respecting pedestrians, and of course the punishment for not following the rules within that territory. I used to think territory is just land, but a territory is a space defined by rules and ownership. It includes land, sea, and space. And by this definition, everything is territory. Borders, territory. Contracts, territory. Business, territory. And of course, the internet is territory. Now, this is where it gets uncomfortable because the scramble didn't stop in history books. It's moved online. When the internet first started, it looked boring. It was messy. Static pages, ugly graphics. It was experimental. It wasn't validated yet. But while the masses were waiting for it to look safe, ownership was already being claimed. Domain names were registered. Protocols were defined. Platforms set the rules. People didn't realize they were entering a new territory. They thought they were just using new tools. We are watching the exact same thing happen again right now, with digital territory, with blockchain, with AR layers being mapped over physical cities. These new layers are simply territory in its administrative phase. And just like every territory before it, control is being decided before the validation arrives. I didn't understand this in 2014. I understood Bitcoin as money, but I didn't understand the internet as territory. I let Bitcoin expire because I was waiting for the market to tell me I was right. Of course, that didn't happen. This is what most people miss. Validation doesn't create value. Validation prices it in. Early on, things feel risky because proof is missing, so they are cheap. Later, things feel safe because proof is everywhere, so they are expensive. Borders were cheap before Berlin. Rail access was cheap before the cities were built. Domains were cheap before the traffic arrived. Proof is priced in. Safety is expensive. When you wait for everyone else to agree that an investment is good, you are paying a premium for their agreement. You see, history doesn't punish people for being wrong. It charges them for waiting. So I'll leave you with this question. What are you waiting to be proven before you take it seriously? And what looks risky to you right now only because it hasn't been validated yet? And as always, this is just my take on the history and tech, not financial advice. See you on the next one.